Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show. Amanda, I can't find the show. Actually, I found the show.
There.
It's here. It's introducing. I always forget that it's a little bit of
Kenny's
a lag.
Here, Barbara Jean's there.
Kenny's here. Barbara Jean's here. I'm here. You're here. That means we've got a show.
Yeah, we're here. We're doing this.
We're awesome. We're rocking and rolling. All right. Before we get to weekend news, and I did not make it to the 142nd.
No, you didn't make it?
I didn't make it. I was just beat on
I
Saturday.
bet.
Saturday was just I needed a recovery day.
You put on a good show on Friday.
Thank you very much. Home Again did a good job. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show as well.
Yeah.
So we have all kinds of things. Let's make some money first, but welcome.
Yes,
It's Monday, and it's a beautiful Monday, and it was hot.
It started out a little rocky, but
I was moving some furniture, but it was hot today.
Yeah.
All right. Moultrie Creek Diner or Anastasia Diner. These neighborhood diners are more than just a place to eat. They are where hospitality blooms and friends gather. Bring your own friends or make new ones. The coffee is always hot. The smiles are genuine, and the food tastes like home. Every meal is a chance to make memories, share stories, and create bonds that last a lifetime. It's not just about the food on the plate, but the community that comes together at the table. Come see us at Moultrie Creek Diner or Anastasia Diner and tell them Andy sent you.
Absolutely. Abear Kresge and Associates, they are a full-service local CPA firm with a team of skilled professionals dedicated to providing a top level of service in the areas of tax compliance and planning for businesses, individuals, estates, and trusts. They do audits, reviews, and other accounting services, business valuations, forensic analysis, and litigation support. You can reach them at 904-460-0747 or online at abearkresgecpa.com. Abear Kresge and Associates, get your taxes done. Solar Stick, established in 2006, Solar Stick is a local portable power company proudly committed to American manufacturing, constant innovation, and creating jobs right here in St. Augustine, Florida. Solar Stick's focus on providing solutions for self-sufficiency helps users all over the world complete missions and save lives. Solar Stick, changing lives, saving lives, and reviving American manufacturing.
Opening their doors in 2008, Brightway Insurance, the Casey Agency, has proudly stood by their customers through hurricanes, major floods, hail, and fires. Boy, we've had all of that in St. Augustine.
Yeah.
Through these events, the agency has become a much-needed insurance resource in times of trouble and hardship. Honesty and integrity are the pillars of their core values, says Ashley Casey, the owner. And he said, we pride ourselves on being insurance experts while developing strategies that help our clients meet their insurance needs. I'm telling you, you need a friend in the insurance industry.
Absolutely.
Especially here, because we have hurricanes, fires, floods, major floods, and hail. You need a good insurance company. Hey, listen, I'll tell you how good they are and how much risk they're willing to take. They insure this show.
Yes.
I'm not sure they do Florida Man games. I think they're pretty smart, but I don't know if they're the insurance company.
That would be a wild insurance claim.
Woo!
Pete, if you're watching, tell us about insurance for Florida Man games.
Pete's answer, insurance? What insurance?
What
Van
insurance?
Strange was in charge of that.
You got a release that you signed.
Van Strange was in charge of the insurance.
All right, I got our show prep done.
Right, you got our show prep done? Awesome.
There you go.
Okay, tomorrow, we got a question for our listeners.
Yes, put it in the comments.
So Amanda and Davey are handling the show tomorrow because I have planning and zoning, which typically starts around 1 o'clock and ends at who knows when. The latest I've been there is 10 or 11 o'clock at night. On average, lately, we have been somewhere between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock. I still have to go through the agenda tonight. I got to read all that. I got to go through it in the morning tomorrow. And because there's something coming up that was previously before, so I got to go back and find that meeting and watch that. So I got a lot of stuff.
You got a lot to do.
I got homework to do tonight and in the morning. But that leaves Davey and Amanda in charge of the show. And you know when the boss is away, the kids are going to play. So kids, please explain to the rest of the adults. Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
I got some splaining to do. Okay, so this is what we need your input on. Davey and I both have engagements in the evening that we don't want to be late for. So we're either going to pre-tape and then play at 5 as usual, or we can go live at 4 p.m. and you can be with us in the comments live interacting as the show goes on. We've got a fun show planned. I have prep to do too. Davey gave me homework. So put it in the comments. Would you rather us schedule it to go live at 5 like normal, or would you rather us just go live at 4, you guys show up early, and then we have a party all together?
So which is worse, prepping for Davey's show or prepping for a colonoscopy?
Colonoscopy, 100%.
Okay, just checking.
Davey's homework is fun. I'm not into the colonoscopy prep. That is brutal.
So Tim's got the pre-tape. Make it easy. You guys just give us the info, and Amanda and Davey will
we'll make it happen.
You guys are a democracy. We're voting. And speaking of voting, most of us don't have to vote in this, but Randy Fine is running south of us.
District 6, right?
District 6. Mike Waltz's old seat. Apparently, you can reach him on Signal. Randy Fine, that is, not Mike Waltz. Too soon? Too soon for a Signal joke? So what we've got is some very interesting, there's people that are really worried about turnout.
Yeah.
So there was an article today
it's happened in a couple of these special elections.
In Just the News. I'll give them the credit.
All right.
So special congressional elections Tuesday to replace former GOP reps Mike Waltz and Matt Gaetz were supposed to be nearly surefire wins for Republicans trying to add to their narrow House majority, considering both districts lay in heavily Republican. Yet each appears tighter than expected going into Election Day. First of all the Democrats are showing up.
Yeah.
And all the Republicans are like, hey, we won in November. We don't have to do any more work. This is what happens with the voting electorate.
All of my Democrat friends have voted and they posted about it. So get your tush out to the polls if you want to see a Republican majority hold.
Yes. So the 6th congressional district, Randy Fine, who's competing against Democrat Josh Well, in a district that stretches from the north central coast to the middle of the state. Trump won the district by 30 points.
Yes.
But in a survey conducted last week in the race to replace former Waltz, who resigned his seat to become Trump's national security advisor, Fine is winning just over 48% of the vote, while Wall received just over 44%. Pollsters have reported a 5% margin of error, greater than Fine's lead. Look, this story is written to get Republicans out because the poll was done to get Democrats out. Right? Telling the Democrats you got a chance in a district that Trump won hugely, bigly. So anyway, nobody knows who Fine is. It's the first time he's run for a federal office. So that doesn't help. It's a special election. I can tell you as somebody who ran in a special election in 2015, no one shows up to vote on special elections. Incredibly low turnout. In fact, Vicky Oakes hasn't even called us about it.
She hasn't.
But to her defense, it's a sliver of the bottom of St. Johns County. So there's that. Also, it's happening on April 1st, which is ought to do that. And then Wall is having a nearly 10-to-1 fundraising advantage over Fine.
Well, that's mostly out of money, listen, I would guess.
All the money that they can shove into these races right now, Democrats are shoving into these races.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
The Wisconsin House race or Supreme Court races tomorrow, that's a big one. But in Matt Waltz's case, in an area that you grew up.
Yep.
Wouldn't you grow up in the 1st congressional district? You elitist.
I'm so special.
In Florida's 1st congressional district, Jimmy Patronis, who's been serving in state politics for over 2 decades, is competing against gun violence prevention activist Gay Valmont. Gay Valmont, that is his name. Not making for Gates' seat. Donald Trump won that district with 66% of the vote. But the race is neck and neck. Valmont, whom Gates handily defeated in November, has bought in more than $6 million compared to Patronis's $1.2 million. Now, if you're a Republican and you're watching these Democrat ads, you ought to be fed up and be at the polls. Yeah. So if you're not, shame on you. But those are 2 seats they're trying to get. In my mind, it would be absolutely awesome if the polls aren't that close and it's a big blowout win, because that means Democrats wasted, once again, money trying to chase seats they're not going to get.
That's always fun.
And I kind of enjoy that. As a Republican. When I get beat by it, I get really upset. So, yeah. The key is it would then tighten. And that's why Elise Stefanik, his name has been pulled from ambassador to the UN. But I also think Trump's about to just cancel the UN, so it would have been a job. She would have gotten a promotion. I mean, do we need the UN at this point in time?
I don't.
Does it do anything to help us out?
I don't think so. All right, I've got the District 6 congressional map. So if you live in that blue section, get your tickets to the polls and get your vote on if you haven't already.
Yes.
Like if you live anywhere where it's blue, this little blue section, pay attention. Go
Pay
vote.
attention.
Don't
And
be
is
complacent.
that Hastings and Elkton? Are they out there on 207? Or is it just south? Flagler Estates for sure.
Definitely south. Molasses Junction, Palatka, Matanzas State Park is in it. Butler Beach. Yeah.
Okay.
Go
Go vote.
I can list all the districts if you want.
Yeah.
So if you're in precinct 212, 213, 304, 309, 310, 311, then you are in this district. There are parts of 303, 305, 306, 307, and 308 that are included in this district. So check your voter registration card. Go on Vicky Oaks' website. You can put in your address to see if your address falls in District 6. Get your booty out and vote.
Kenny says the lot lizards have it under control. So we're good. We're really good there. All right. So Paul Moss is watching. It's been a while since I've seen Paul in the comments. So let's just jump to the Jon Stewart story.
Okay.
Because I know Paul Moss is a huge Jon Stewart fan.
Course.
I actually, I think at times Jon Stewart is funny. I think at other times he's just way too far left.
Show.
I think there's some points he's got that are really good.
Yeah.
The thing he did on Chuck Schumer a couple weeks ago about caving was hilarious. I laughed. I mean, I enjoyed the cave, but I really laughed at his comment on it.
Yep.
So Jon Stewart was having a conversation with
Ezra Klein.
Ezra Klein is a longtime left-leaning reporter.
Yes.
And Ezra Klein had actually done some real work. He went and did research.
For a change.
And I was amazed at the depth of research that he did. Right. So I thought it was really good. And he and Jon Stewart had an interview explaining why the Biden administration had all of this money for broadband internet for rural areas. So rural areas, the sticks, where the Hicks live, right?
Yeah.
The people that Washington flies over and doesn't pay any attention to. So they have this process. It's a 14-step process. 14 steps.
Are these like the keys?
Klein goes through the steps with Jon Stewart. At one point, Jon Stewart loses it at about step 5 or step 7 because they haven't accomplished anything and it's just been going back and forth and it's been a total delay. And then Jon Stewart finds out that there's like 56 entities that had originally applied and then it dropped down to like 30. The end might have only been like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I can't even watch Jon Stewart and Ezra Klein for as long as it took them to explain this because it takes like 10 minutes of explanations to get through this. But when we got to the end, Jon Stewart's like, okay, so now they're approved. And Ezra Klein says, no, now they've made it through the 14-step process. Now they have to submit a plan for what they want to do. Stewart said, they've done all of that before. He said, I know, but now they have to submit a different kind of plan for what they've been approved for. So it almost was a red pill moment for Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
Where, and his comment was, this is why we lose.
Yeah.
This is why we can't govern. I'm going to tell you that both Jon Stewart and Ezra Klein missed the main point of this.
Well, of course they did.
They completely missed this. So I'm going to Rush Limbaugh this for you. I'm going to make total sense of it.
Make sense of it for us.
This was an area that had no broadband, right? And so Joe Biden wanted to look like an everyday, ordinary, I care about the average working guy. So we're going to get internet to you. I have news for you. Everybody that lives in that area has found a way to get internet.
Yes.
They figured it out. Yes. They didn't need the government to do it because people that live in that area are more self-reliant because they don't want the government coming to the door all the time. So they had already figured it out. But the Bidens had to have this cause of, look, we care about the little guy. But then when they got it passed, they're like, we don't
know how to do this.
No. That's what Klein and Jon Stewart thought. Okay. They knew how to do it. Right. They decided not to do it. Because if you inform people that live in the sticks, they might not vote the way you want them to vote. They vote heavily Republican most of the time.
Yeah.
So why should we give them internet? We should keep them in the dark as much as we possibly can.
Yeah.
So there never was a goal to get internet to
It's true.
red rural areas. The reason they did it was so that they could sound good. And then they created this 14-step plan that would never get
the internet is the arch nemesis of the Democratic Party right
Correct.
now, because you can actually weed through all the information that is fed to us by mainstream media with other sources. And that's how Trump won.
Yes.
Because none of us were believing the Kamala Namanon. But I will interject one thing. The reason Biden did this is because many countries in the EU, especially Germany, have deemed internet a human right. And so the governments they're offering broadband for free as a human right to their citizens. And so he's copying off the paper of the EU countries.
I again disagree, because the Biden administration did not care about human rights, because they wanted to fire a lot of people for not getting a shot. They wanted people some of them didn't want people to be able to get hospital and medical care for not getting a shot. So human rights was not the issue. It was all about, and then here was the thing. They were going to take the money that had already been approved, and if Biden won again, they went, well, we couldn't get it done. It was just too difficult. So we're going to move that money to some green, we're going to reappropriate for some Green New Deal.
USAID.
That was the plan all along.
So I'm not saying that you're
All
wrong.
along.
I'm just saying they can market it as a human rights thing. They
Yes.
can market it as them being altruistic to people that have less than the city dwellers and are therefore disproportionately affected. So they can market it that way. I don't think they actually cared, because I don't think they actually care about poor people. We saw that after the hurricane.
No, they
We
do
saw
not.
that after the floods
It's not
in
that they
North
don't care about
Carolina
poor
and
people. They
Tennessee.
don't care about the poor people that don't vote for them.
Yes, they don't care about poor people as a unit. They only care about poor people that vote for them.
Yes.
And if poor people stop voting for them, they just import people that they then make poor by being illegal workers and illegal immigrants, and then they get them on the registers to vote. Allegedly.
All right. Quick update on Friday night. The Home Again fundraiser. Thank you for you and Louie for
That was
showing
so
up.
fun.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you to Chris and Don Shee for donating the Tringali barn.
That was awesome.
For a first fundraiser there. I think we did really, really well. I won't know the numbers till tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's going to be probably 3 times what we would have raised had we done a fundraiser, which our off fundraiser, not Nights of Lights, has always been like a murder mystery.
Yeah.
And I think we did way more bang for our buck with that.
I gotta say, you and Troy killed it on the auction items.
Troy killed it on the auction.
Like, you guys were really rallying up the crowd to put in some big bids. I helped where I could. And so I got a bidding war started and contributed to a bidding war on Lux Japanese Head Spa.
That went for way more money than I thought. I looked at that and I thought, oh my gosh, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's just no way. No, Troy did a really good job auctioning that. And he also gave away, there's one thing he always gives away. And he actually gave 4 of those away.
Yeah.
So people were bidding on it pretty hot and heavy. And then he,
now I'm never going to get to see the top of the treasury.
Nope, never going to see the top of the treasury.
Because he sells it for thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars.
Yes, but that was really, really good fundraiser.
Top.
Because Home Again needs that money. So
Yes,
we're very grateful for everyone that showed up. Really, really good. Also, tomorrow's April Fool's. Those of you that are out there that are surfers, just a reminder, it is going to be 6 to 8 feet tomorrow with light offshore winds, and it's going to be amazing. If you go to the surf station, you're going to see just awesome stuff.
Yes.
Tory Strange always has an April Fool's joke, and every year he fools somebody. So several years ago, when Troy and I were doing the radio show together, Troy calls me and says, "You're not going surfing today, are you?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, everybody's talking about the great white shark that was spotted off the pier this morning."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Troy, what day is it?" And he's like, "It's April 1st. I'm like, "Troy, what day is it?" And so then I finally get the, it's Tory Strange. The next year, Tory comes out with the surf station is closing.
Oh.
So Troy calls me. "Oh my God, did you see the news? The surf station's closing."
What day is it?
No. I said, "Yeah, what do you think about that?" Trying to draw this out a little bit more. Troy says, "Well, it's really terrible for Tory, but you think we should try to sneak in there and buy that property? It's really great property." I mean, the concern for Tory lasted less than a nanosecond, but the real estate opportunity was something we have to take advantage of. I'm like, Troy, I feel really bad that you want to take advantage of Tori's terrible situation where he has to sell. Well, I don't want to take advantage of him, but that'd be a great piece of property. And I'm like, what day is it today? Oh no, it's April 1st. So yeah, so just be careful tomorrow. It is April 1st. Yes.
Yeah. So we've got one vote for Play It at 5 pre-taped. We've got one vote for Go Live at 4 p.m. So if you want to be the tiebreaker, tomorrow we have the opportunity to do some cool stuff in the evening. So we have the opportunity to either go live at 4 or pre-tape and have it go as if it's live at 5. So let us know in the comments.
Look, the way you guys are voting is like what we're afraid of that's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, don't do
Get out there and vote. Look on Vicky's site and see how many people have voted. I bet it's like a 5%. Well, for us, it would be such a small turnout anyway, because it's only a little sliver of, and it's the least populated area of St. Johns County. And I'd be curious. Special election. Come on, you can find it. You can find anything.
It's right here.
What do we got?
Let me see. Loading. Data is loading.
I love it when data is loading.
All right.
200 people.
21.88% turnout.
That's not bad. But what's the Democrat versus Republican turnout?
Let's see. By party, by type.
Party.
Republicans are still outpacing. So vote by mail. Let's see.
That's 7 Democrats and 21 Republicans.
Democrats vote by mail are 949, early voting 1812. And then Republicans are losing by mail at 617, but they're winning by early voting at 2918. Unaffiliated are at 2762.
What's the total? Does it give you a total at the bottom?
Total, let's see.
Just out of curiosity, is there a total? Do you have to add it all up? We got to do all the work.
Come on, Vicky.
Come on, Vicky. It's a special election. We don't want to work.
I type. Let's see. All right. It's 1778. Plus 5451. So we got to do the math. So what's that?
This is where the show went off the rails. Amanda's doing math.
I'm doing math.
Doing math, and in a few minutes, she's going to talk about her picks for the NCAA tournament.
I know, it's going to be perfect.
Go Gators.
7,229-ish.
People have voted.
Yes.
How many Republicans roughly have voted? Out of curiosity. So I know you didn't watch any of it because it's sports ball. But the Gators had a great comeback on Saturday. I almost did a little bit of coaching in my day in high school.
About half of that is Republicans. 3,500, 35.
So it's almost split evenly.
Yeah, about half of that's Republicans.
So Republicans, get your butts out there. That's a lot closer than I would have thought it would have been. But Republicans tend to show up on the day of election.
And they do. And unaffiliated voters in this county have a tendency to vote Republican.
Yeah.
But there's only 836. So that's still a narrow margin since it's about 50-50 at this point.
Yep. Don't let it chance. But I think Democrats have already got all their votes in. All right. So Florida Gators, great comeback in their game against Michigan.
Yeah, they made it to the Final Four. I noticed.
It wasn't Michigan State. It was who did they play? I'm trying to remember. It's a really good. It's a good ball club. The coach was a pretty good coach, but anyway, they were down, and
Texas Tech
played a really good game. The Florida coach just didn't change his strategy. Texas Tech just kept backing. So I felt like I was watching Moses Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Robert Parrish. They just kept backing down.
I thought that exact same thing while I was watching the game live because that's what I do.
And so they Gators hit like 4 big threes at the end. They won an 18-4 run. That means they scored 18 points, Amanda, while Texas Tech only scored 4. I know I got to explain this to you, but. So anyway, that was a good game. Duke blew out Alabama. Auburn beat Michigan State, which sets up a Florida-Auburn rematch in one semifinal. And Houston 1. So I've got friends and family that are going to the Final Four in San Antonio. San Antonio.
Do you want to know ESPN's predictions?
Give me the ESPN
for
predictions.
Florida versus Auburn. They've got three people.
They're going to I'm going to say the majority are picking Auburn.
All right. I've got Florida wins. All three.
Really?
Yeah. All three say Florida wins.
So the Auburn big man is a little bit banged up.
Yeah.
But Florida's just very resilient this year. What about the other game? Who are they picking?
All right. Houston versus Duke.
They all got Duke.
Yeah. Nope. We got 2 for Duke. Jeff Borzello and Myron Medcalf say Duke wins.
Mm-hmm.
And then Joe Lenardi says Houston wins.
All right. So here's what's the vote for? Kathy, the vote is for Congressman Walt's seat. He got National Security Advisor.
Yeah.
Right? Is that it? I think
Mike Waltz.
Mike Waltz.
Is it National Security Advisor?
I think so. I think he is. But anyway, he's in the Trump administration. So his seat, which was heavily won, which he won big time, but he's being outspent like
National
4-1.
Security Advisor.
Yeah, he's being outspent like 4-1. And then Jimmy Petronas, who has spent $1.2 million over in the Panhandle in District 1, Matt Gaetz' old seat. Oh, no, the live thing. Sorry, Kathy.
Yeah.
The live thing is whether Amanda and Davey...
Davey has uncle duties tomorrow night, and I'm taking my daughter to Les Miserables in Jacksonville as a little mommy-daughter field trip situation. We've been studying a lot of things that take place around the French Revolution. So you have the option to either have us go live at 4, or we can pre-tape and the show can play at 5. So please vote in the comments what you prefer. Barbara Jean is heavily politicking for Social Hour at 4 p.m.
All right. I will be starting hour 4 of planning and zoning at that point in time. So Ethan, my third child, was watching Les Mis with one of his girlfriends, Bella, in high school.
Yeah.
And I walked in and I was like, "Oh, Ethan, do you like this?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, it's pretty good." He didn't want to say no.
Yes.
He didn't want to, so the yes came out. And I said, "Well, if you like this one, you're really going to like the second and third one." And Bella was like, "Oh, they're amazing." And Ethan's face just dropped. I was like, "Bella, well played. Well played. Thanks for helping me out." Because he's like, I can put up with one singing, dancing thing with Hugh Jackman in it. But if I got to watch 2 more, that's just a bridge too far for Ethan. So
the Hugh
laughed.
Jackman version is not like what I would necessarily recommend if you've never seen Les Miserables.
Well, just enough for me.
Yeah. Kathy votes live at 4, so we've got 2 for live at 4, 1 for pre-tape.
All right. Let's see. We talked about surf. We talked about the Home Again fundraiser. We talked about April Fools. The press corps is having a hissy fit.
Oh, they're mad. They're big mad.
Their press books are all in a wad. They are a mess because they have been deciding who gets to sit where in the press briefing room.
Yeah.
And legacy media, the old people that no one watches, the old guard that no one watches anymore.
The dinosaurs.
Always decided, well, we're going to be in the front row.
Yep.
And all the other media outlets have to be farther back. But now they're going to jumble things up. And you would, oh my gosh. It was absolutely, I've read some of the stories. I'm like, I'm laughing. I literally am laughing. You people had the front row for 4 years with Joe Biden. And none of you were like, is he able to do the job? Now, Peter Doocy was the lone voice in there. And he was never in the front row. Never in the front row. So I personally think that for a while, some of these guys should just be rotated out. And maybe for a couple weeks at a time, they shouldn't be in the press briefing.
I haven't seen people lose their minds over losing their seat this bad since Rosa Parks.
Okay.
Those protests.
Oh.
And the results thereof.
Yeah.
Rosa Parks wouldn't give up her seat. People lost their minds.
There was a representative out of, talk about people losing their mind. He was a congressional Republican. And it was so funny. This kid comes up to him, this young guy, and decides Congressman Tim Burchett. He's a Republican. And this guy comes up with a phone, young kid. And when I say young kid, he's in his 20s, not like an 8-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes up and he says, how do you feel? Is our national defense safe with the people that are currently in office? And are they going to give away all our national secrets on Signal?
Mm-hmm.
And Archit just looks at him and says, does your mom make your mac and cheese every night for you and then turn your Game Boy on? And it was just, the guy just stood there like someone had stolen his Game Boy and his mac and cheese. It was hilarious.
It's vegan mac and cheese. That's what it is.
And it's gluten-free. It's gluten-free.
Which means it's all chemicals.
It's all nasty.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, but it was just a great, he dropped that line and then he just kept walking. I was like, that's really, really good.
As far as the press corps goes, though, I mean, to paraphrase Matt Gaetz, they can just stay offended.
Yes.
Like, you lose, jumble the seats. Who cares?
This is a sign that the apocalypse is upon us. You just
it's
quoted
a great line.
Matt.
It's a great line. Of all the lines I've heard him repeat ad nauseum.
Oh, my God. I don't even know who you are.
It's been a weird day.
I don't know who you are.
It's been a weird day.
Ooh.
But it's a great line, and I had to give that one to him.
So in another story, making it a great day, a man who vandalized a Tesla in a Walmart parking lot has now been identified by police as a Cuban non-citizen, and he has a felony arrest warrant for him. Osvaldo.
In addition to the
Torres
Tesla?
Rodriguez.
In addition to the Tesla?
Yeah, is 63 years old.
Dude.
He keyed a Tesla, got arrested. They had an outstanding warrant for him, and he is going to be leaving our country.
This is the biggest practice of FAFO that I have seen in forever. Come on. This is so stupid. Most of the people...
You were living illegally in a country.
Yeah.
And you got so upset you vandalized a car that could take your picture while you were vandalizing it. And
in a parking lot that's fully surveilled. Walmart parking lots have cameras on every light.
I got to tell you, this guy might be a genius. This guy might be a genius. Teslas were obviously bothering him. He was angry at the Tesla. So he wanted to go someplace where they don't even have Edsels. He's going to Cuba. There's not an electric car there. There's not a new car there. All there are is old cars.
Yeah.
He is going to be so happy when he walks down the road in Cuba and never has to see another Tesla. I think this was pre-planned. He's brilliant. Send him back to Cuba.
What happens when he encounters all of Nikola Tesla's tech, which is still in use in Cuba because they haven't upgraded since, the 40s and anything? What's going to happen when he sees that? Is he going to lose his mind there?
I don't know that he's going to have electricity every day in Cuba.
No Westinghouse?
You're very helpful. You're very helpful. I think that's nice. That's sweet. It's kind of kind.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to have power every day.
Dude, come on. This is so stupid.
The fact that you vandalize something and you're like, I won't get caught, but knowing you're here illegally, you did it anyway. What were you thinking? What were you thinking?
I just want to know the voting demographics of Tesla owners.
I think the demographics is they were mostly liberal.
That's what I'm thinking. Up until 6-9 months ago, you mostly leaned left if you bought a Tesla.
Yes.
And so now we have the left eating their own and destroying their own vehicle.
There's a great joke about, I love the fact that Democrats are keying other Democrats' cars.
Yes, that's what's happening. It's mostly Democrats and far leftists and eco warriors who own Tesla vehicles.
Yep.
Because up until 5 minutes ago, Elon Musk was the hero to the left that was going to save the world. I have a friend who used to love Elon Musk. He worked for Elon Musk, and he was constantly praising about how proud he was to work for a company that cared about the environment and cared about green energy. And he was so proud. And now he's like, oh, I worked for that man. He was such a nightmare and he treated everybody like garbage. It's like, you put in for a transfer when you moved because you wanted to keep working for this dude. You obviously liked the job. I can scroll back on your Facebook, 5 years ago when you still worked for this company and you loved it. And you would tell me how amazing it was when I would be like, but really though, is that really the way this is going to go? Like, he would call me out all the time about how Elon Musk is the warrior that's going to save the planet and save all the idiot people from themselves. And now he is the biggest Elon Musk hater. He's the biggest Tesla hater. Like, dude, calm down.
Slow down, buddy. Slow down.
My head's spinning from how fast you're flip-flopping.
All right. Speaking of cars and electric cars,
all right.
Ford has just filed a patent to bring back a manual transmission for its electric vehicles, which is really kind of interesting because there's no shifting.
Manual
transmission for a electric vehicle.
Okay.
So here's it. What percentage of people today know how to drive a manual transmission?
I'm not going to give my regular answer because that's the wrong answer.
That's the wrong answer this time.
I would say 23%.
You're pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. 18%. But what percentage of vehicles last year, new vehicles sold in the U.S., had a manual gearbox?
If 18% can drive it, I think fewer people are actually driving them than are physically able to drive them. So I'll say 9%.
Less than 1%. Less than 1%. I'm so glad I have an older model Jeep. It's a 2014.
You'll survive the EMP.
it's a manual transfer. I don't know. There's still all kinds of junk in it.
Oh, yeah.
That it's not that old, unfortunately. But yeah, it's crazy that only 18% know how to drive. It's awesome. My kids never asked me to borrow that car.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I learned how to drive a manual transmission when I was in my early 30s, I think. Because we had a vehicle that was dying. My husband could ride his bike to work, but his vehicle was a manual transmission. And so in order for me to get my daughter to and from preschool and church and everything while he was at work, I had to figure it out. And I did not like it one bit, but I learned how to do it. So in a pinch, if I had to like get away from zombies and your Jeep was the only one I could do it. I could do it. It's just, it would be rough. But I could
Darcy had to learn how to drive. I had the old Honda Civic, 4-door, and she had to learn how to drive. And I tried to teach her, and she eventually said, "You just go to work. I'll figure this out."
Yeah.
Now, she didn't go over the Bridge Alliance for the first 2 years we were married. She would go if she had to go downtown, she'd go all the way around the 312 so she wouldn't have to change gears on the bridge.
She picked my daughter up in the Jeep once.
Yeah.
And my daughter was like, "I never want to learn how to drive manual." She's like, "That looks so hard. I don't
love
want
it. Well, the hard part is we were in Australia. I was trying to teach my daughter how to do it. Steering wheel's on the other side.
Yeah.
So you're shifting left-handed. The gears are still in the exact same place.
And the pedals are in the same place.
And the pedals are in the same place, thank God. Because I was a little worried those were going to be reversed. So
it seems like it should be reversed.
You would think everything else is backwards, but that's not.
Yeah.
But trying to remember, okay, first gear is way over here instead of right here, and reverse is way over here, and now it's right there. I mean, it was kind of interesting figuring that out. So, yeah. And the first time I had to do it was in the rain. The windshield wipers weren't working.
Yeah.
And the AC wasn't really working.
So it's all foggy.
And it was all foggy, and I had the window down, and I'm wiping, and I'm shifting, and my phone's not hooked up to Australia yet, and I'm following my wife and my daughter, and I'm like, if I lose them, I may be lost in the outback
for free forever. Man.
For forever.
A very sad but free man.
All right, really quick, no spoilers. 1923 last night was good.
Okay.
It was a good episode.
Last week,
still an incredible amount of pain and suffering.
Yeah.
In this series,
you had some trepidation last week because there was a lot of suffering.
A lot of suffering this week too.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. I mean, it's just you watch it and you think, no wonder the Duttons are mean. I mean, you watch it, you're like, well, they had to be mean to survive all the other mean people that were trying to kill them and take stuff. And so apparently there's only one episode left, and it's like 2 hours long next week. So I'm going to have to take a nap because it's going to be well late. Well, actually, I can watch it anytime. But so we'll see what happens. Kind of see where it goes. And what happens with all of it.
There was a reason why it was called the Wild Wild West, because the landscape itself was wild, but then you had to like be wild and somewhat feral in order to survive.
Yes.
So that's why it's Wild Wild, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Wild Wild West.
And I think it was either History Channel or AMC that I caught their series on the West. And so they followed all of these characters. They followed Sitting Bull, Wyatt Earp, Jesse James, Billy the Kid.
Yeah.
And there were a few other ones sprinkled in there, but they followed them. Really went harsh on Wyatt Earp about him being a vigilante. It's like, did you see the people he was fighting? They weren't the nicest people.
Wasn't he a sheriff?
Yeah, he was a sheriff, but
so like
he went
not
on
a vigilante.
They killed one of his brothers, and he went on a one-man vendetta. And some guy writes this book, and the title is Wyatt Earp Vigilante or something. You're like, yeah, did you see the title of his book? He's not a Wyatt Earp fan, and you're interviewing him about Wyatt Earp. And so the only interesting thing is the very end, Wyatt Earp made it to Hollywood and became a consultant on a lot of the early Westerns. Tom Mix and him were friends. Supposedly, Marion Morrison, John Wayne, got to meet him and hear stories from him when he was working as a stagehand. That's all supposedly, and I looked it up and I couldn't find any proof of it. Okay. But it was in the same story that,
Yeah.
So anyway, that was it. Billy the Kid, brutal death. Jesse James shot in the back of the head. Sitting Bull shot.
I heard
it was brutal.
Yeah. I heard the Brad Pitt Jesse James movie is actually a really good one. It's something like The Coward That Shot Jesse James. It's a really long title, and so not a lot of people saw it, but I've heard it's a really good one.
Bob Ford is a no good, dirty coward who shot Jesse James.
The Coward That...
I think that's the title of the movie, but I might be wrong.
I just had it, and then it went away.
Yeah.
Let's see. We can find it.
You'll find it.
I always do. It just takes some time.
All right.
I had dissection today.
How did the dissection go?
The dissection was crayfish, and I think I cured almost all the kids in my class from ever wanting to eat crayfish at a seafood boil.
I didn't think they were seafood, so
yeah. It's the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Yep, that's the whole title, and so not a lot of people saw it, but I heard it's actually one of those movies that nobody's seen, but it's amazing. So if you're looking for a movie,
it's got Brad Pitt in it, so you can't go wrong.
I mean, you can't go wrong.
Bobby, Wyatt Earp was never hit with a bullet. He had several
that's crazy.
The gunfight at the OK Corral, 30 rounds were fired in 30 seconds by all the people that were participating. So you add up all the rounds. That's a lot of bullets, and he did not get hit.
That's crazy.
Which is really rather amazing.
That's like George Washington. I mean, George Washington had how many horses shot out from under him? He had bullets go through hats and coats.
Yes.
And it never hit him. So Native Americans believed that he was a spirit. They believed that he couldn't be killed.
Yep.
And so when he was fighting in the, French and Indian War, if he showed up, then the Native Americans on the other side were just, peace out. Like,
peace out, we're gone, we're leaving.
This is gone.
Yes, the British did not have the same fear of him.
They didn't at first.
They did not. All right, you've got questions. It's 5 questions. We got about 15 minutes left.
All right. In honor of me going to take my daughter to Les Mis tomorrow, what is the first Broadway play you have ever seen?
What is the play? Chicago. Chicago's the first one. We took our daughter, Wesley Catherine, to, she wanted to go to New York for her 13th birthday, so we took her, just Darcy and I. And Chicago was the show that we watched. Brooke Shields was one of the leads. Yes. Still fell asleep in
it. Well, his pastor
still fell asleep in it, I'm just saying.
Chicago is an interesting one for you to go see the first time.
I actually thought I thought the movie Chicago was for something that was Broadway. I thought that was really good. Richard Gere, I thought, did an amazing job.
He did a really good job. So
Renee Zellweger.
Catherine Zeta-Jones. Renee Zellweger. They
she
all
was
did a good job.
Pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
She was that, which was even more amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That was a pretty good film adaptation, I have to say. My first Broadway play was when I went up to New York. I got the opportunity to join a nationwide choir ensemble. So I was part of my high school's contingent that was sent to sing in Carnegie Hall on Easter Sunday. So part of the trip was that we got to go to a Broadway play.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was chosen for us. We'd never heard of it. I don't think they tour it anymore because it would be considered pretty offensive now, I think. But it's called The Scarlet Pimpernel. And it's a bunch of like manly men, aristocrat, like war veteran guys are kind of coming together to solve a crime, to right an injustice. But in order to not, they kind of have to spy because they're well connected, so they can be in rooms other people can't be in.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to solve this injustice, they have to like untangle the web of espionage. And the way that they spy without drawing attention to themselves or suspicion is they all intentionally act very flamboyant and feminine. So they're not like dressed in drag or anything, but they're just acting like they would prefer a fashion show to a fox hunt, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And their mark that you were one of them was a scarlet pimpernel, which is a flower. And so they would have a scarlet pimpernel on their lapels, and that's how you knew it was one of the crowd trying to fix this issue. And so I don't think it would get made today because like it's a bunch of straight dudes pretending to essentially be gay so that they can like solve this crime injustice situation.
For some reason, that seems the perfect one for you. Chicago seems perfect for me, right? Brooke Shields dancing, fine, let's go.
But they did make a movie of the Scarlet Pimpernel, and it was pretty decent. It wasn't as good as seeing it live, but I can loan it to you on DVD.
Just the one with Danny Kaye in it? That's a different one. Had to do with a baby. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, not Rosemary's Baby.
No.
All right,
no,
your question. Not. First R-rated movie.
First R-rated movie you went to go see.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta think it was probably a horror movie or something. It was probably a slasher movie.
Yeah.
And I can't remember which one it probably was. I don't know if it was Friday the 13th. Because I think that was out before there was even a PG-13.
Yeah.
Was that an R-rated one?
I'm trying to see if Event Horizon was R-rated because that was,
you're looking up your movie.
That was the one that popped into my head as first R-rated, but it might not have been. My first R-rated movie, Event Horizon was R. So that's the one that probably I saw and scarred me the most.
Yeah.
I might have seen that was 97. I don't think A Few Good Men was out yet, or it might have just come out. Yeah, it was probably Event Horizon. That was pretty.
It was 1980. It was an R-rated movie.
Yeah, Friday the 13th. Yeah.
That was probably one of the very first ones.
Kenny's Porky's.
Porky's was good too, not going to lie, but I think that was a year or two after.
Yeah.
So Friday the 13th came out in 1980. Let's see when Porky's came out, out of curiosity. I want to say it was like 81 or 82, but I could be wrong.
That was old when I was walking the aisles of video rental stores. I remember seeing it on the shelves. Barbara Jean saw Jesus Christ Superstar, which is cool. Bobby and Kenny said their first Broadway plays haven't been written or produced yet.
Porky's was 1981.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The year
I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but I can remember movies from the 80s.
Porky's and I were born at the same time.
Darcy and I were married, and we got carded trying to go see Ghosts of Mississippi.
Yeah.
Which was a movie about 3 activists that had been killed in the 60s, and the FBI's search for them. Gene Hackman was in it, I think.
R.I.P. Gene Hackman.
Maybe Willem Dafoe might have been in it. I can't remember. It was it was like, you're carding me for that? You didn't card me for Porky's like years ago, but you're carding me for this. So, yeah.
We wanted to go see the Chris Kyle movie.
Bobby, there were no R-rated movies when you were young, Bobby. Just admit it. It was black and white. Buster Keaton was in them.
Shannon's first was Rent, and then she got to see Annie Get Your Gun with Reba McEntire. So, I can't remember what I was saying. Anyway, first R-rated movie, we did that one. First car. What was your first car?
Oh, mine was a horrible car. I had horrible choices, so ended up with like the lesser of all the evils, but no one knew the other choices, so they just thought it was a horrible. I had a Ford Fiesta. It was bright yellow.
Yeah.
And it had no air conditioning. It would break. The AC broke all the time, so it's kind of like it wasn't great, and it had no radio when we bought it.
Yeah.
So when we sold it a few years later, we just took it to the beach all the time and just wore it out.
Yeah.
Whenever we sold it a few years later, the radio was worth more than the part could be scrapped. The car could be scrapped.
I've had cars like
that. And it was only like a $400 radio, but it was worth more than what they were going to give us for the car. Yeah. When we traded it in, the car salesman, I thought was going to cry when Dad was finishing the deal. I'm like, I'm going to go yank the radio out right now. He's, you're yanking the radio out?
That's the only thing we wanted.
It wasn't original to the car, so yeah, we're taking that out. Yeah, we're taking the radio with us.
I've popped the radio out of a car that wasn't worth it. My first car was an '88 Chrysler LeBaron. It had one of the first incarnations of automatic safety belt. And all that meant was you had a lap belt that was one piece, and then you had a shoulder belt.
Yeah, it was another piece.
Was a separate piece, and that could stay attached to the door. The doors were huge and they were heavy.
Yes.
It was my late grandmother's car, so when she passed, it became my brother's first car. And then when I turned 16, it became my first car, and he got to get a different car. He got to upgrade, and he turned down what would have been an actual upgrade and stuck with a Toyota Tercel, which cracked me up. So when I got to upgrade from the LeBaron when it like died hard, I almost made a guy in the military AWOL.
Because
it was like our first date, and I was taking him to see my friend's horse because we were right near it, and we had been talking about different animals that we like to, hang out with, whatever. And so I was taking him to meet my best friend's horse, and it died on the dirt road at the stable. I still don't know how the tow truck got that thing out of there. But I had to call my closest friend's dad to take me to the base so that we could get him back to the dorm before he was AWOL. It was pretty bad. So, yeah, it was an '88 Chrysler LeBaron. It was a beast, and I did not enjoy it at all. Okay, so I got a couple of options for our next few questions. So you can pick first app you look at.
Hang on. Bobby's right. It was Mississippi Burning, not the Ghost of Mississippi. So thank you, Bobby, for catching that mistake.
Ooh, Mississippi Burning.
Mississippi Burning.
All right. Okay, so it's choose your own adventure. You can do first app you look at when you wake up in the morning, first plane ride, or first celebrity crush. We got two more questions. Which two do you want to do?
Let's do all of them.
Okay.
Let's do all of them. So first app I look at in the morning is the weather.
Yeah.
I'm a contractor and I'm a surfer. So that's the first thing I do is I look at the weather. I want to see what's going on, how much it's changed. Usually check the radar. Second app I check used to always be the Blue Sky Surf Report, but Dave McCree doesn't do it anymore. So Tori Strange was always third. And in that, Dean, who is a firefighter in Central Florida, is the surf prognosticator, forecaster for the surf station, and Dean does a pretty good job of calling it. So that's usually the next one, and then I check Surfline, and so I'm weather. I'm all over the weather in the morning.
Surf reports.
Yeah, then I'll check the news.
Yeah, I'm usually text messages, calendar app, and Facebook, and it's usually those are my first three. Not always in that order, but those are my first three. All right, first plane ride, sir.
Oh my gosh, that was first plane ride from Jacksonville to probably Atlanta.
Okay.
Was the first plane ride. I actually have a picture of it as a little kid. I remembered it, so I was probably 6 or 7, something like that. Yeah. We flew up to see my aunt. And then I think my dad drove my aunt and uncle up that lived in Atlanta. And then I think my dad drove up, spent a weekend with us, and then brought us back. So we flew up early as my mom, my brother Todd, and I. So, yeah. The first one I really remember after I graduated from college and had to go to a business meeting in Kansas City. And that's the first one I remember going by myself. And I think to one of those, I went to Kansas City a couple times a year at that time because they had these computer meetings, and I was on a computer board for Butler Manufacturing. And so I remember the surf was great, and I didn't want to leave. And I was married to Darcy at the time. She had gone down to see her folks. And so I got home, I showered, I had everything already packed, and I got in the car, and I think the flight was leaving like in 90 minutes. And I got to the airport in 50 minutes because there wasn't as much there wasn't much traffic back then. And then I parked right up against the construction site for what is now the multi-deck parking garage. They didn't have that. And then ran through that. I had my, like ticketing was at the gate. Yeah. So I ran up to the gate. I mean, I literally ran the whole way, and I made it with like 5 minutes to spare. I was like, this is awesome. Today, you couldn't do that because of TSA and baggage check and all the other garbage that you have to do. But back then, there was nothing. They're like, yeah, you want to run through the construction site with a bomb? Sure, go right ahead. You want to, just go right in the airport. Yeah, no big deal. Right on the plane. We're fine with that too. Yeah. You got any ID kit? Nope, this is me. Okay, you're good to go. Yeah.
Airport security ruined the big dramatic airplane scenes in movies.
Yeah. It just wasn't. It was so much easier back then.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So my first plane trip was to Europe. I was on a high school trip going to tour.
To see Les Mis in France.
Rome. I didn't see a show then. From Rome up to Paris. And so the first like actual plane ride was little puddle jumper from my small town airport to Atlanta. One of the kids on the trip was already in Atlanta, so he met us at the airport and then proceeded to make a joke about having a bomb in his bag.
Oh, that's not good.
We almost missed our flight to Europe because that douchebag heard, oh, I'm not supposed to say this. Okay, I'm immediately going to say it.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do. That's wrong.
That dude is an entitled POS lawyer, just so you know. And he almost got kicked out of Italy.
Was there any nice guys that went to school with you? Because you don't like any of these people you went to school with.
There are two that I said I didn't like.
That sounds like
they both went to law school. What do you want from me?
All to me.
It sounds like a lawyer joke.
That
people
sounds
I
like
know
all
became
to
lawyers.
Me. Everybody is
Jerks.
what that sounds like.
No, this dude was legitimately an entitled jerk. Our first night in Rome, he gets hammered, even though we were only supposed to have one drink at dinner if our parents gave permission. He gets hammered because our supervisor didn't really care as long as you didn't get arrested. He starts peeing off the balcony.
Oh, that's never good.
Onto Italians singing God Bless America and chanting USA. He was an entitled jerk. So don't say I'm the problem. He was legitimately an entitled
that's literally the definition of the ugly American.
Yes, 100%.
If you want a definition of it and a poster child, that was it.
And so the teacher that was running the trip called the parents, like, I'm going to have to send him home. There's a chance he's going to get kicked out of the country. Yeah. And they were on their own, like, rich parents' vacation. And they were just like, well, there won't be anyone at home if you send him home. Yeah. So if you do that, then you're abandoning a child, and I'm going to sue you because, of course, they were lawyers too. They were not great people.
Yes.
I don't like entitled lawyers.
To Istanbul, Turkey with my mom and brother.
Bobby's was to France.
Yep.
I'm not the only one that had big trips. In 58.
Orlando to Kentucky. Hopefully it was the Bourbon Trail, Kenny.
Nice.
I hope.
All right. Bonus question. First celebrity crush.
Oh, my gosh, this is embarrassing as all get out.
Oh, mine's humiliating.
I'll go first so that I can just enjoy your humiliation after mine. Kim Richards.
Kim Richards.
She was in a couple of Disney movies, Escape the Witch Mountain. Yeah. Later found huge fame in Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, she's familiar.
She's crazy. And Darcy would watch that show and go, you had a crush on her? I said, I was a kid. I didn't know she was going to try to be nuts.
Okay, you want to hear mine?
Yes. Wait a minute. Can I guess?
You can guess. It's going to be wrong, but you can guess.
Oh, my gosh.
Born in 81.
You were born in 81. Mm-hmm. So you would have been, that was like the early 90s. I got to say like one of the boy bands, like Marky Mark or one of those people, the fun band. No?
That's way too late. And I liked Donnie Wahlberg, so Marky Mark seemed like a child to me.
Okay. Yeah.
So my first celebrity crush was Michael Jackson.
Yes.
When I was like kindergarten, first grade.
Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. At least he could sing.
Yeah, he could sing, he could dance.
He was nuts too, though.
That's what I'm saying.
It's absolutely nuts.
I had a crush on him when I would have been his target demographic.
Annie Walton, Catherine Bach.
Catherine Bach.
So now I know why when people call Andy and I'm standing next to him, it always plays The Spy Who Loved Me on his phone. That's his ringtone, The Spy Who Loved Me.
Bobby's telling lawyer jokes. Barbara Jean, Jonathan Frid. Dark Shadows.
Yes.
All right.
He was.
Nice.
He was Barnabas. And those are great questions, by the way.
Those were good
Thanks
questions.
for working all weekend.
That was a fun Raquel Welch. I don't think you were alone in that, Bobby.
6 billion BC. They're like, how can we get Raquel Welch half naked
in a fuzzy bikini?
And let's just make her a cave woman.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. And what is she going to do? She's going to run and scream from lizards that we're going to project to be like huge lizards. And it's just, yes, 6 million BC.
How can we get her almost naked in a fuzzy bikini or any kind of bikini running?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's put her in front of
100%
prehistoric dinosaurs.
Yeah, we got, and CGI didn't exist. It was just,
no,
it was
claymation, stop action.
No, they actually took like, I think lizards and made lizards look really big. And then when they opened their mouth, they put like this giant roar in there, and that it wasn't. Nobody was scared.
So they just like zoomed.
You weren't
into the
scared
lizards?
by any of that stuff as a kid because you're like, that's so obviously fake. I'm not really worried about that. Jaws comes along and everybody was scared by Jaws.
And you were also mesmerized by the bouncing Raquel Welch.
Actually, I had to watch the movie 3 times to realize dinosaurs were in it. Don't judge me. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's real.
Right now, I'm telling Bobby for the first time ever there was dinosaurs in it. He's watched it a lot longer than I have. Yes.
I thought it was a fashion show.
Yes.
Was it Raquel Welch and Jane Mansfield, the like intense side-eye picture?
I don't know.
Oh, it's my favorite picture of Raquel Welch. And I think it's Jane Mansfield. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's hilarious.
Bobby, I don't think she did either.
What?
I got fully naked. That didn't happen back then.
No. I mean, it's a different world.
This is different.
Yeah, this is, let me see if I can pull it up. So this is my favorite pictures of Raquel Welch. Jane Mansfield is there in a dress. She's obviously trying to be the main character and the center of attention. She's about to pop out of this dress, and Raquel Welch is giving her the biggest side eye of, girl, I'm trying to eat.
But she's looking right. Her eyes are up here, Raquel. Her eyes are up here.
She's not looking
very
at
inappropriate. Her eyes are up here.
She's not even trying. But it's my favorite picture of Raquel Welch.
Her eyes are up here. All right, so what are you doing tomorrow? Early show, late show? What are we doing?
The votes were to go live at 4. Of the votes we got more to go live at 4. So that will be the plan.
All right, if you know people that live in the southern part of St. Augustine, St. Johns County that are registered to vote, tell them to go vote.
Tell them to go vote.
Tell them to go vote. It's a special election. Tell them to go vote.
The only way Republican wins in this district if Republicans don't show up.
That's correct.
So
and if you guys who love Trump don't send a person from here and the people in Pensacola don't, shame on you.
Yeah.
Because you just made his job a lot harder. So go do your job.
So speaking about the special election, these are the 2 candidates. The one on the left looks like a Just for Men ad. Doesn't he look like the guy on the cover of the Just for Men box?
Which one's Randy Fine? On the left or the right?
So Josh Wheel is on the left. He's the Just for Men guy. And then Randy Fine is on the right.
Randy is,
This guy looks like he's on a Just for Men's box. The hair dye, the beard and hair dye for men.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like to me.
Okay.
Am I weird?
Randy looks like he sells insurance.
He does. Which,
That's what he looks like.
Most politicians do.
Yes.
You'll be just fine with Randy.
That looks like the guys who, the picture in college on the composite, who always looked like he was 20 years older than everybody else. Oh, yeah. He was the same age as you, but he's just like, he's going to
But he looks like he sold insurance.
He can walk out there and go say, I've been selling insurance for how long? Long time. Oh, yeah, probably like 10, 15 years, buddy. Yeah, probably like that. Right? And he's 23 years old, but he just has an old look.
Bobby called it. It wasn't Raquel Welch. It was Sophia Loren and Jane Mansfield.
Sophia.
I found the picture though.
Bobby has kept us on track today. Bobby, thank you very much for doing
Monday, dude. I had to lead kids through a crayfish dissection. My brain is fried. And an etiquette class.
I moved furniture for home again out of a trailer that was an office trailer that's getting moved. So I did that, and then I had to hustle to meet my buddies to go surfing.
Yeah.
The waves are really good today.
Serve other people. Make sure you're checking in with your mental health.
Got all my stuff done.
Aqua therapy.
Looks like Pete. That's hilarious. No, he doesn't look like Pete. There's no sunglasses.
No sunglasses.
All right, tune into the morning show. Davey's got an amazing afternoon show. I have no idea what's on, but it will be amazing because it's Davey. And then tomorrow night at 4 o'clock.
We ain't fooling. 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock live.
Live at 4 o'clock.
Anything can happen. It's April Fool's. All right, you guys have a great night.
Bye.